Welcome to Part 2 of Planning Trips with Girl Scouts. Let's talk about insurance. To protect your troop and any guest, it is important that troops purchase insurance when traveling. All participants, members, and non-members must be insured. Decide which plan best suits your needs and complete the request for additional insurance form. Return the form to the Council with your trip application and payment of the premium. Please note that the insurance needs to be received by the Council at least 3 weeks before the start of the activity, event, or trip in order for coverage to apply. For any inquiry regarding Girl Scout activity insurance, contact the Council Registrar at 1-800-475-2621. Plan 1. Girl Scout Basic Activity Accident Insurance. All troop members are provided basic activity insurance by GSUSA upon registration and payment of the $25 national registration fee. This is why it is so important to get the troop registration completed and returned to the Council in a timely manner. This insurance covers registered members for troop meetings, activities, and events lasting 2 consecutive nights or less. Plan 2. Accident insurance for activities or events excluded under the basic plan. This is designed to provide the same level of benefits for approved supervised activities and events that are excluded under the basic plan. Non-members participating in Girl Scout events can be insured under this plan. This plan should be considered if the event is of a short duration and/or close to home. Examples of such activities and events are field trips during a meeting. This is also known as tag-along insurance. Plan 3P. Accident and sickness insurance for activities or events excluded under the basic plan. This insurance provides sickness and accident coverage for all participants in an approved Girl Scout activity or event lasting more than 2 nights. This insurance should be purchased for any extended troop trip or any trip that is over 150 miles from the meeting location. Plan 3PI, the International Travel Plan. This accident and sickness insurance is for activities or events excluded under the basic plan. This plan is the same as Plan 3P, but includes international travel assistance services. To see a full description of the insurance plans and costs, please see the additional resources for a guide to Girl Scout troop travel, where you will also find your insurance forms. Make sure you submit your insurance forms and payment to the GSWRC Lexington Office Manager. In an exciting learning by doing environment like Girl Scouting, it's only natural that girls will sometimes want to take part in activities not covered in safety activity checkpoints. When activities involve unpredictable safety variables, they are not recommended as Girl Scout program activities. There are some activities that are not permitted activities in Girl Scouting. GSWRC considers some activities to be high risk. In addition to following the safety checkpoints, they require special permission on the parent permission form, and the vendor must be on the Council vendor list in order to have Council permission. Vendors on the list have provided proof of insurance and follow required safety procedures. Contact the Council Program and Camp Department if there is a location that is currently not on our approved vendor list that you would like to use. When attending a high-risk activity, GSWRC requires all attendees to complete a high-risk approval form, which is submitted with your troop trip approval. The following activities are considered high-risk activities in Girl Scouting. Make sure you see our additional resources for the high-risk approval form. When transporting girls to planned Girl Scout field trips and other activities that are outside the normal time and place, every driver must be an approved adult volunteer and have a good driving record, a valid license, and a registered insured vehicle. Every driver must be an approved volunteer at least 21 years old. Girls never drive other girls. If a group is traveling in one vehicle, there must be at least 2 unrelated approved adult volunteers in the vehicle, one of whom is female. If a group is traveling in more than one vehicle, the entire group must consist of at least 2 unrelated approved adult volunteers, one of whom is female. Care should be taken so that a single car is not separated from the group for an extended length of time. Please ensure that the number of passengers does not exceed the intended limits of the vehicle. Each person has his or her own seatbelt. There is adequate space for luggage and equipment which is stowed securely. All vehicles are equipped with a first aid kit. No alcohol or drugs are consumed before or during Girl Scout trips. Please also be aware that some over-the-counter medications may cause driving impairments. All city and state laws and regulations must be followed. Appropriate behavior while in the vehicle needs to be discussed with girls before each trip. Each driver has a copy of destination directions and phone numbers. The vehicle stops and pulls off the road to a safe location if there is a need for the driver to make phone calls or text someone. All girls under the age of 12 ride in the back seat. When hiring a private bus company, we recommend that troop mentors check their safety record on the Department of Transportation website. We recommend that troop mentors do not contract with any company with noted safety violations. Private transportation includes private passenger vehicles, rental cars, privately owned or rented recreational vehicles and campers, chartered buses, chartered boats, and chartered flights. Each driver of motorized private transportation must be at least 21 years old and hold a valid operator's license appropriate to the vehicle. In addition, any state law must be followed, even if they are more stringent than the guidelines here. Anyone who is driving a vehicle with 12 or more passengers must be a professional driver who possesses a commercial driver's license or a CDL. 15-passenger vans are not recommended. Please keep in mind the following non-negotiable points regarding private transportation. Even though written agreements are always required when renting or chartering, you are not authorized to sign an agreement or contract except for rental car agreements, even if there is no cost associated with the rental. Such agreements must instead be signed by GSWRC representatives. Permission must be obtained by GSWRC if you use a rented car. When renting a vehicle, read all rental agreements to be sure you comply with the terms and avoid surprises. For example, in many cases, the minimum age of a driver is 25 and the maximum age is often under 70. In addition, make sure the car is adequately insured and you know who is responsible for damage to or loss of the vehicle. Finally, ensure you have a good paper trail that shows the vehicle rental is Girl Scout related. Public transportation has the advantage of being subject to regulations for standards, equipment, personnel, and insurance. This is true for bus lines, ship lines, commercial airlines, and trains. Submit your rental agreement to the program department with your troop trip paperwork, as well as the driving record request form. See the additional resources for Tips for Driver Safety, which is a part of A Guide to Girl Scout Troop Travel. It is important to get approval for all trips ahead of time. Make sure you follow this troop planning guideline chart, which is a part of the additional resources for submitting your application. Please fill out the troop application completely and forward a copy to your service unit manager, troop support specialist, or the GSWRC program department. This will depend on what type of trip the girls have planned. GSWRC staff and or service unit managers are to be notified prior to any troop activity occurring away from the regular troop meeting place and or the regular meeting time. This includes, but is not limited to, individually registered girls. To get approval, you must fill out a troop trip application form and submit it to the proper person using the following guidelines. Day trips are to be submitted 2 weeks prior to your service unit manager and Troop Support Specialist. Day trips over 150 miles from the meeting location are to be submitted 3 weeks prior to your service unit manager and Troop Support Specialist. Simple overnights that are less than 150 miles from the meeting location are to be submitted 4 weeks prior to your service unit manager and Troop Support Specialist. Simple overnight trips that are over 150 miles from the meeting location are to be submitted 6 weeks prior to your service unit manager and GSWRC program department. Extended overnights are to be submitted 8 weeks prior to your service unit manager and GSWRC program department. International trips need to be submitted 12 months prior to your service unit manager and the GSWRC program department. See the additional resources for a guide to Girl Scout troop travel, which is where you will find your troop trip application forms. When taking a trip that is an extended overnight or international trip, additional forms are required. In addition to the troop trip approval form, the following should be sent with your application: insurance form and payment, a travel itinerary, participant roster, vehicle leasing form if you're renting a vehicle, the check driving record request if you're renting a vehicle, high-risk activity forms if applicable, and the trip evaluation should be submitted once you return. These forms can all be found in the additional resources. Remember, make sure your parents are informed in writing of all relevant information to the trip, including the itinerary, contact information for the chaperone, and on-location contact information. In addition to all the forms you submit to GSWRC, make sure you have all the important troop forms along with you as you travel on your trip. These include permission forms signed for each girl, safe driver and passenger pledges, as well as participant agreements and behavior contracts for girls and adults. Also include the girl-adult health history forms. And if any girls have medication, make sure to have written directions for dosage as well as documented parent permission to give the girl medication. When the trip is over, remember to pay bills promptly, write thank you notes, and return borrowed or rented equipment. And finally, evaluate with the girls. So how do you feel? We hope you start to take your girls on simple trips and progress into extended and even international trips. Maybe you still are not sure you and your girls are ready to plan a trip. Try a Girl Scout getaway. Getaways are short travel programs designed specifically for Girl Scout troops. Getaways are sponsored by other organizations and Girl Scout councils and are advertised by Girl Scouts of the USA. You can visit forgirls.girlscouts.org/travel to see a list of getaways. Or maybe your girls are ready to travel on their own without your leadership, and they're ready to take a step out of their comfort zone. Think about going on a destination. Girl Scout destinations are the ultimate adventure for individual girls aged 11 and older. With different trips every year, there's something amazing for everyone to experience. Make friends from all over the country as you travel with Girl Scouts from different states and pack your bags full of inspiring, life-changing experiences. Destinations are also sponsored by other organizations and Girl Scout councils and are advertised by Girl Scouts of the USA. Wherever you travel, remember you are traveling as part of a Girl Scout trip. You and your girls are representatives of the largest voluntary organization for girls in the world. The name Girl Scouts and your uniform can open many doors for you. It is the responsibility of you and your girls to maintain the good image of the organization and to practice good manners. You are representing the entire organization when you are out there as Girl Scouts. After reviewing a guide to Girl Scout troop trips, you should feel ready to take an adventure with your girls. Immerse yourselves in the culture all around, learn and grow. Have fun and exciting trips. See a guide to Girl Scout troop travel for all the information you could need. And if you still have questions, please call 1-800-475-2621, email gswrc@gswrc.org, or stop by your local Girl Scout office to ask your questions.